Welcome to Star Citizen and the ship guide to the solo mining ship, the MISC Prospector. The MISC Prospector, which entered the game with Alpha 3.0, is still the only solo mining ship that is very well suited in every version of the game to create a lucrative source of income in the game through the very complex and far-reaching mining mechanics. The range is very wide, from beginners with a standard prospector to highly specialized professionals who are only on the hunt for a lucrative quantanium. In this guide, we will of course go into all the information and details about the ship, as well as its main purpose, the mining of resources, in a basic course. And if you want to know more about mining, whether on foot, by vehicle or even with ships like the Prospector, take a look at the dedicated mining guides here in the channel. In the category of light mining vessels, the Prospector, at just under 26 meter long and 60 meter wide, offers a rather leisurely speed and standard range, which is, however, absolutely sufficient for an industrial vessel. In size small, the Prospector also fits on small landing pads and is equipped as standard with industrial components from B to C grade, whereby she can fall back on a size 2 power plant and a size 2 cooler. With 32 SCU of cargo capacity, divided into 4 interchangeable raw material bags, we can only accommodate mined raw materials in the ship. Standard cargo boxes are left out. There is only room for 1 crew member on board, although we could of course carry a passenger inside in an emergency. Thanks to a lounge area with bed, bathroom as well as a kitchen, the Prospector is also equipped for longer trips. As the standard ship for solo mining, the Prospector is permanently available in the pledge store for $155. In the game, we can buy the Prospector in Lawville at New Deal for just about 2 million Alpha USD, which we generally prefer to buying with real money. In order to be able to work professionally even in the most adverse atmosphere, the Prospector is equipped with 2 separate and rotatable VTOL engines each. Of course, we can also use these in combat, although we should definitely not go into battle with the 2 size 1 weapon hardpoints. This is because the armament is only for the most rudimentary self-defense. The main focus is of course rather on the industrial equipment, the size 1 mining laser, which in the standard version is equipped with an Arbor MH1, which is sufficient for beginners. This is more than sufficient for the first entry into mining mechanics, although we naturally recommend much more powerful lasers in combination with various modules and gadgets, depending on the intended use. You can find more about this in the dedicated and specialized mining guides here in the channel. Finally, the typical MISC industrial look offers a distinctive look to the Prospector, which we also find in some of the manufacturer's other vessels. Here, functionality has been combined with Xi'an technology to create an exciting package to suit the intended use as a mining vessel without sacrificing comfort and design. The 3-point landing gear does not always provide a stable stand and is sometimes wobbly, especially in uneven landing zones. Access to the interior is exclusively via the side ladder, which has a small lock on the interior. This consists of only 1 room and offers access to all the ship's components, a small kitchen, a bedroom, a bed and access to the cockpit secured with another door. The cool MISC industrial design continues into the interior, where we find lots of metal surfaces and clean lines. The centerpiece, however, is the cockpit, which provides flight controls as well as controls for the mining equipment. This is fully glazed and free of struts that could impair the field of vision. The pilot's chair is anchored to the ceiling and free to move downwards. However, it does not swivel, so we have to walk around it. This gives us the best viewing conditions for working with the mining laser extending upwards directly in the pilot's field of view. So, the optimal conditions for mining excursions. Mining laser as well as the VTOL thrusters can also be operated in the landed condition without touching down on the ground. However, this can change on uneven terrain as the ground clearance does not appear to be too high. In the current game status for 3.19, the 4 material bags can already be removed by means of a tractor beam. In the medium term, these can also be replaced by new ones. The main purpose of use is of course resource mining in asteroid fields or on surfaces of planets and moons, which is why we will familiarize you with the basic controls and functions of this mechanism with the MISC Prospector. For beginners, we recommend mining excursions in the immediate vicinity of Lagrange points, which we will of course introduce to you all. Here you can find your first materials quickly and without risk, and you can make good profits. Pressing the Tab key triggers a scanner ping, which then shows you various hit signatures that you can simply fly to. These signatures will disappear over time, allowing you to generate more up-to-date and detailed results with a new scanner ping. We continue this until we have flown to a mineable resource depot marked with a stone symbol. At the latest, we then activate the mining mode by pressing the M button, whereby resource deposits within range are automatically subjected to a detailed scan, which we then need for mining. Here we get information on the mass, resistance and instability of the deposits as well as its material composition. With the colored information, we can also see directly how difficult it will be to mine this occurrence, whether the stone can be mined easily, moderately or not at all with our current equipment. If we activate the mining laser with the left mouse button at a sufficient distance from the deposit, which we can see in the upper left corner, the mining process begins. The energy level of our laser, which we can vary by pressing the left Alt key and the mouse wheel, is decisive here. Our goal is to bring the charge level into the optimal green range and to keep it there and not to drift into the upper red range. To do this, we continuously vary the energy supply with left Alt and the mouse wheel. When the optimal green area is completely filled, the mining laser switches off automatically and the target breaks up into several fragments. Fragments with a purple border are already ready for collection, and fragments with a yellow border have to be broken up again. If we now aim at the individual fragments, a detailed scan is triggered again in order to be able to determine the content of the respective fragments, which can differ significantly. In order to make the highest possible profits, we need the most lucrative materials possible and should avoid inert materials, so dirt, in our hold. To collect, we switch to collection mode with a click on the right mouse button, which switches our laser, and then restart the laser with a click of the left mouse button. The laser changes not only its color, but also its function and now sucks in our target materials. But be careful, avoid high inert material concentrations, as they fill up your hold and have no value. So, materials without inert content are optimal, whereby the profit margin of the various resources offers considerably leeway. But not all deposits can be mined. We regularly come across massive deposits that only can be mined by several mining ships or a multi-crew mining ship, and we have no chance with a single prospector. Also, as mentioned, the available raw materials differ considerably in terms of their value. Price differences by a factor of 100 are possible here. Once we have filled our cargo hold with a maximum of 32 SCU, the next step is to unload the cargo and either sell it directly or convert the raw material into refined material, which costs more but increases the price range considerably. However, the refining of raw materials is another extensive topic with various processes and bonuses of the individual refineries, for which we offer you a detailed refinery guide here in the channel. Because the specialization and customization of your mining ship with the various mining lasers, mining gadgets and modules is extremely complex and in-depth and would go beyond the scope of this guide. Therefore, we will show you the easiest way to sell your raw materials directly, after you would need an additional transport ship for refined material and would have to fly to one of the various separate trading places to ultimately sell this refined material. As you can see, the mining mechanic is currently the most in-depth in Star Citizen. But let's move on to another area of use for the MISC Prospector, the combat capabilities. All through, we generally recommend that you avoid combat with a Prospector in a timely manner, especially if you already have cargo on board. The defensive capacities are very limited due to the single size 1 shield, as are the offensive qualities with 2 size 1 weapon hardpoints. Here you can hold your own against easy opponents, but especially your outside material bags are an exposed target and are shut down very quickly. However, mining ships offer another armament which can cause considerably damage against even larger targets. The only problem here is to get close enough and survive the whole thing. We are talking about the mining laser, of course, since they can deliver a considerable damage output, which is actually necessary for cracking large resource sources. However, at the appropriate range, this also works great against opponents who can be eliminated within a few seconds. Unfortunately, this is nothing to fast space battles and is only recommended in exceptional cases. With 3.19, the possibility of removing various components by means of a tractor beam has been added to the game, which also applies to the 4 material bags of the Prospector. We have already prepared all the information on this in a dedicated guide on the subject of salvaging. This way, it will be possible to have another player pick up full resource bags, who can sell them, and you can continue working with new empty bags without interruption. However, as of 3.19.1, neither the sale by a third party nor the refilling of these bags work accordingly and will only be fully possible in future versions. But the corresponding mechanics have already been confirmed, as well as the possibility of using mobile refinery ships to take the bags and have them refined directly. But let's come to the conclusion about the MISC Prospector. The MISC Prospector is the only solo mining ship to date that is the gold standard for the mining industry without having to rely on the help of other players. We can therefore recommend the Prospector without reservation, whereby we recommend an in-game purchase for about 2 million Alpha USC. A real money purchase is justifiable at $155, since you can quickly generate in-game currency with the ship.